No specific subject is present in this news article.
Artifact, a news aggregation startup co-founded by Instagram's founders, is shutting down. This is bad news for Artifact as it means the company is ending its operations.
Instagram has cut 60 technical program manager positions, eliminating a layer of management at the company. This is bad news for Instagram employees who are losing their jobs.
Elon Musk's bid to buy Twitter in 2022 is discussed. This is neutral news, as there is no specific update on the outcome or implications of Musk's bid.
Threads, a messaging app, plans to integrate with the Mastodon network by the end of the year. This is good news for Threads as it expands its reach and user base.
Google plans to allow more real money games on the Play Store. This is good news for game developers who will have more opportunities to publish their games on the platform.
CES 2024 showcased a variety of transportation technologies, indicating positive developments in the industry.
AI models can be trained to deceive like humans, which could be seen as both good and bad news, depending on the context.
Robotics demonstrations at CES 2024 were impressive, suggesting advancements in the field.
CES 2024 featured some unusual and eccentric tech and gadgets, making the event more interesting. OpenAI has modified its policy to allow military applications, which can be seen as controversial or concerning.
Novartis, a pharmaceutical company, has pulled away from a potential acquisition of Cytokinetics. This news is considered bad as it contradicts Novartis's recent pattern of aggressive deal-making, including acquiring Calypso and forming 3 research collaborations. Lilly CEO David Ricks has good news for the biopharma industry. He believes that GLP-1s and AI, artificial intelligence, will play a significant role in shaping the future of healthcare. GLP-1s are a class of medications used to treat type 2 diabetes by stimulating the production of insulin and reducing blood sugar. Ricks predicts that GLP-1s will continue to evolve and offer new treatment options for patients. Additionally, he emphasizes the importance of AI in drug discovery and development, highlighting its potential in accelerating the process and improving outcomes. This news suggests promising advancements in both medical treatment and technology that could benefit patients in the near future.
FDA, Food and Drug Administration, has good news regarding GLP-1 drugs. They have found no link between these drugs and suicidal thoughts. However, they clarify that they cannot completely dismiss a small possibility of suicidal ideation associated with GLP-1 receptor agonists. As a result, the FDA will continue to assess the available evidence.
JPM 2024, referring to the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference held in 2024, has good news. The sentiment regarding the biopharma industry for the year ahead seems to be positive. This is seen as a promising sign after a volatile year in 2023.
Obesity has become a major concern worldwide, and new oral agents such as Wegovy and Zepbound have emerged as potential treatments. The increased attention on these medications signals a positive development in tackling the obesity epidemic.
Takeda Pharmaceuticals' Elena Kondarakis, the head of the Orexin franchise, has good news regarding the company's efforts to treat narcolepsy. During an interview with Biospace in San Francisco, she provided a preview of the upcoming developments in their Orexin program.
Biogen has announced a positive news as it has decided to hand back the rights of the multiple sclerosis MS drug Fampyra to Accorda. Biogen obtained exclusive rights to sell the drug outside of the U.S. in 2009 and rebranded it as Fampyra for international markets.
Biospace has good news from the 42nd annual JP Morgan Healthcare Conference in San Francisco. They will be providing updates on the latest news and industry developments from the event. Stay tuned for more information.
Gold Colloid Co. has announced a strategic partnership with Hangzhou Clongene Biotech, which will allow them to bring rapid in vitro diagnostic tests and raw materials to the U.S. market. The partnership will leverage the expertise of both companies, with Gold Colloid Co. being a leading distributor in the U.S. and Hangzhou Clongene Biotech being a well-known manufacturer of IVD tests and raw materials from China. This collaboration is expected to enhance access to advanced medical diagnostics in the U.S.
Pumas AI has good news because they have hired 2 experienced professionals from Julia Hub and Pfizer for product engineering and pharmacometrics positions. Pumas AI is known for its innovative work in utilizing data to make life-saving decisions quickly. CES has almost fully succeeded in chasing sex tech off its show floors. This is bad news for companies in the sex tech industry, as they are not getting the same level of exposure and opportunity for innovation as they would at CES. Age tech at CES was much more than gadgets. This is good news, as it suggests that CES is embracing and showcasing technology designed specifically for the elderly population.
Wisp brings electronic larynx voice boxes into this millennium. This is good news, as it indicates that Wisp is working on improving communication for individuals with speech impediments, which is a positive development.
ZoeCare uses existing Wi-Fi signals to detect falls in care homes. This is good news, as it highlights the focus on fall detection and autonomy for the elderly at CES, which can greatly improve their safety and well-being.
My memo adds some Pilzazz to automatic medicine dispensers. This is good news, as it shows the continuous efforts to improve medication adherence and prevent accidental dosing errors, which can have significant health implications.
Commerce Pitch has a teardown analysis of Cortex's $10 Nemendollar seed deck, noting that it has some missing elements but also gets some things right. This news is neutral, as it provides both positive and negative observations.
A slew of consumer tech and companies focused on consumer packaged goods have received venture capital funding in the past year. This is good news for these companies, as it indicates investor interest and support. Amazon's Just Walk Out technology now works with employee badges, allowing customers to skip the cashier line when checking out. This is good news for Amazon, as it expands the convenience and efficiency of its retail technology.
Sway, formerly ReturnMates, secures $19.5 million Series A funding for its e-commerce return management platform. This is good news for Sway, as it demonstrates investor confidence in its approach and potential for growth.
Google Cloud introduces new GenAI products for retailers, aiming to incorporate generative AI into retail experiences. This news is neutral, as it highlights Google's efforts to innovate in the retail industry, but does not specifically indicate the success or failure of these products. Crypto Google pulls Binance other global crypto apps from India Store. This is bad news for Binance and other crypto exchanges, as they have been removed from the Google Play Store in India. This is seen as a blow to the already struggling crypto market in India.
How low can Bitcoin ETF fees drop before it hurts a business? This is a general question about the impact of lowering Bitcoin ETF fees. No specific company is mentioned.
U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs begin trading, Circle files for IPO, and India continues crypto pullback. This news mentions the launch of spot Bitcoin ETFs in the U.S. and Circle filing for an IPO. It also mentions the ongoing pullback of crypto in India. No specific company is mentioned. USDC stablecoin issuer Circle files confidentially for an IPO. This is good news for Circle, as they have confidentially filed for an IPO. It shows their intention to go public despite previous failed attempts.
Hestia wants you to mine for crypto to heat your house. This news talks about Hestia's concept of using crypto mining to generate heat for households. No specific judgment is made about the news.
The Wall Street Journal Economic Forecasting Survey provides insight on the current economic outlook. Economists surveyed have lowered the probability of a recession in the coming 12 months, but expect a significant slowdown in economic growth, averaging just 1%.
China is facing deflation worries due to weak domestic demand, raising concerns that it may try to export its way out of trouble and potentially escalating trade tensions.
There is a $6 trillion tax cut at stake in the upcoming elections, with President Biden and Republicans offering different plans to handle the tax cuts that are set to lapse after 2025. Western officials are exploring ways to seize Russian assets to back loans to Ukraine without spooking international investors.
Iowa's economy is currently experiencing low unemployment rates, but earnings have risen slower compared to the national average. Coinbase has a good news. Their CEO, Brian Armstrong, has continued expanding the company despite industry slowdown and unprofitable quarters.
Goldman Sachs has a bad news. They have given up on Main Street consumers and want to increase loans to hedge funds, private equity, and the ultra-rich.
Bank of America has made headlines. Their stocks defined the week's news along with PepsiCo, Coinbase, and other major companies.
Bank earnings show a positive trend for Americans' finances. JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citigroup earned $104 billion in 2023, up 11% from the previous year. Citigroup is planning job cuts. They plan to reduce their workforce by about 10%, excluding a Mexico business, as part of a major restructuring plan.
There's a stock-picking contest by Heard on the Street columnists where they share their favorite and least favorite stocks.
Fintech Carta's missteps suggest bad news for the company, as it implies they have made mistakes or errors in their operations.
The real estate fintech industry had an up and down week, meaning there were both positive and negative developments in the sector. It is difficult to determine whether the overall news is good or bad without specific information on each development.
Promedio raised $13 million from PayPal, Samsung, and others to bring open banking to Latin America, which is good news for the company as it signifies successful fundraising and potential growth opportunities in a new market. Overmoon aims to combine the best of both Airbnb and hotels in their vacation rental model, suggesting innovation and potential consumer benefits. This is seen as good news for the company. Peer banks raised $2.4 million to launch Stripe for Credit, implying positive funding and growth prospects for the company.
Countdown Capital winding down is not a bad omen for microfunds. This is good news for microfunds, as long as they can be nimble enough to gain meaningful ownership. The fate of Countdown Capital shouldn't worry them.
Carta's missteps and real estate fintech's up and down week. No specific company mentioned.
More than $1 trillion flowing into climate tech. Incentive tracking apps finding firm footing. This is good news for websites, apps, and startups rushing to track the incentives available in climate tech. The sector is receiving a significant amount of funding.
Looking at Startup C8 to decide if another product launch is necessary. No specific company mentioned.
CES showcasing the rise of age tech. This is good news for age tech, as CES was worth watching closely to observe its growth.
Venture Countdown Capital winding down is not a bad omen for microfunds. The news is seen as not necessarily negative for microfunds, as long as they can adapt and gain meaningful ownership.
Carta's missteps and real estate fintech's up and down week. No specific company mentioned, so it is unclear if the news is good or bad.
Tier and Dot's merger is not a sign of what's to come in M&A this year. The merger is not expected to reflect a trend of consolidation among startups in the M&A space for the year.
Startups' flight to quality discussion. No specific company mentioned, so it is unclear if the news is good or bad.
How to build a solid and profitable AI startup. The article implies that investors are now looking for more solid and viable AI startups, which could be perceived as good news.